I'm Luke. Today on Out of Darts, let's get skewered. It seems like the 3D printed releases in our hobby just do not stop, and I couldn't be happier. This is the skewer. It was designed by Taffy, and this specific one was printed by my buddy Kyle down in the Bay Area. Now, full disclosure, this blaster was sent to me for free, so that is somewhat of a compensation. Also, Kyle is a friend of mine, so keep both of those things in mind. This is a TalonClaw-like platform, but it has a big twist. It's a Talon magwell, of course, and we've got a center core that skewers the whole blaster, where it gets its namesake. This handle right here, which is kind of like a nice T-pull, goes all the way down the center and attaches to the breech. So it's got a nice rock solid feel. The blaster has a rather unique operation in that you fire, prime, return the prime, and fire again. But because of this really good air seal and kind of rock solid feel, the blaster is extremely quiet, performs very well, and overall is kind of a lot of fun. It's a very goofy blaster compared to some, but it really forces you to slow down, take those shots, and make them count, because you are not going to prime fire, that sort of thing. It's going to be a little bit more of a sniper blaster, if you will. The grip is quite comfortable. I actually think it's superior to TalonClaws and Lynx and other things. I think it's a nice rounded, fits my hand really well. Ergonomically, the blaster is fairly simple. You've got a very basic T-pull back here, a pretty no muss, no fuss set of internals. On the note of ergonomics, again, it is kind of an oddball blaster. It's a blaster that feels like you should be shouldering it, but of course, in its current configuration, you can't shoulder it. So it's more of a, take your shot and aim, which to me might make it a little more difficult to actually aim. Now, another user out there named Sillybutts online took Taffy's internals for the skewer and put them inside of a 95 crossbow replica that I think he also designed. Pretty unique concept. I think my buddy Dr. Flux is going to have some more content on that very soon. It's got a more solid feeling as far as the connectivity of all the pieces and how they interlock, and I think that's mostly due to having that skewer running through the center of the blaster. Now, this magwell specifically is of course Talon, but it is not a Vanguard style Talon magwell, so you cannot put this in afterwards. I do believe that Kyle and other vendors do sell a version that is the Vanguard style, where you can swap the mag while you're actually using it. To me, that's not a deal breaker, but it is a nice thing, especially when you get used to pulling it out in the middle. I love being able to pull the mag out while I still have one in the chamber, so I can fire, or dry fire in this case. But it's nice to have that option at the end of the day. In this situation, you always are going to have to deprime it before you do that. But again, like I said, it is an optional add-on that you can get. It's a relatively simple blaster as far as construction and overall look and feel. I think the prints here could use a little bit of improvement. I would reslice a few of these pieces, but there might be some things I'm not aware of. I see a few layer lines and some zits that are basically from a layer start or end, usually a retraction. And I think some of those could just be hidden a little better. That you can see them right here on the grip. There are some what we always call zits, but it's really a layer transition where the nozzle retracts, moves up to the next layer, and then starts again. And I think what you could do is instead, there's lots of room to hide these lines here, these little zits, again, for lack of a better word. You could hide them inside where the customer's not going to see them. So that would be my suggestion on the actual print quality itself. Other than that, the parts do feel rock solid. It's worth noting that Captain Slug is apparently the hardware supplier for these kits. So we've kind of come full circle. Other people are making stuff and he's making the hardware kits. Hopefully Slug is having a good time and getting some sleep with his new baby. That's not how it works. Aesthetically, it's kind of a funky looking blaster, especially with this sort of color scheme. But of course you could accent this a lot differently by choosing more primary colors up top and not having so much of the cascading color effect. But this does a really nice job of showing you all of the different pieces there are, since they're kind of alternating all the way through, and I think that's pretty neat. Somehow when I throw the Tachi on, it starts looking AK, and I think it's just this little bit up here. I think in these nice bright colors, not too concerned about it. I would feel very fine about playing with this. Performance-wise, the blaster hits very high. You can hit 200 to 225 with it. We'll put the actual numbers that we received for this exact unit on the screen here. Again, that's a 20-shot average like we always do. I've only got 2 other blasters that shoot as hot as this one does, so now I just need to find the game to go to play with it. Most of the games we're playing at right now are 150 FPS cap, so I'll probably swap the spring to actually get some test footage. Definitely has a nice feel. It's really easy to sight down the entire barrel. One upgrade I think I would probably throw on here is to drop a scar barrel on it, but pretty standard barrel size would be easy enough to do. We have several that would work directly. At the end of the day, I think this is a really fun offering. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars, mostly due to just not being quite as war practical as others as far as taking aim. But I think it's a really neat design, really clean and really goofy fun. If you want to check these out, you can buy them at Kyle's shop. He's on Etsy, I believe, right now, but if there's any updates to the shop, I will put those down in the description, and you can find all the pertinent information on that blaster there. Thank you so much for watching. We've got a lot more coming. We're heading into our busy holiday season, or maybe this is posting during the holiday season, but thank you for all your support. Until next time, I'm out of darts. Let's get skewered. That was embarrassing. It wasn't primed.